So what we're looking at in this video is the 5 keys, Tom, to connecting with others. As they say, life is a series of relationships. You never know where they're going to go. So if we can give you the 5 keys to connecting with other people, that's going to increase your chances of designing that very own version of your fantastic life. The other wonderful thing is, using these 5 keys, you can audit relationships in your life currently, both personally and professionally, that may not be going well. Or you can even reflect on relationships you've had in the past that didn't work out, and you'll be able to identify why they didn't work out, and that will help you stop making mistakes in the future, ideally. So let's crack on into it. The keys are in order. So we use the example, if you want to unlock new relationships, you need each of the keys in the lock, and they go in order. Like, for example, the 5th key I'll just share with you of the 5 is the last one to lock, is touch. So you don't just want to run up to someone and start touching them or molesting them in the street if you haven't followed the first 4 keys. That could potentially get you beaten or arrested.
Unless you're a fast runner.
Unless you're a fast runner. You could pull a hammy, so be careful. Okay, key number 1 is acknowledgement. So what acknowledgement is the recognition of the importance of something or someone. And people are looking for acknowledgement, Tom, whether you like it or not.
You're a little bit deprived of it, really, aren't they?
Most people are deprived of acknowledgement, so you can be the kind of person who gives it to them. Now, there are different ways you can go about acknowledging people. Eye contact, which a lot of people struggle with these days because they're growing up with the screen generation. So being someone who can eye contact someone is a good start. Gestures, hello, how you going? So using body language, and of course, learning and using people's names is another thing, because everyone loves the sound of their own name. It's like magic to their ears. Another great thing is also acknowledgement. You can start that by giving someone compliments, and we did a great video which you want to check out, which is how to start a conversation anywhere, anytime. There are 2 key ingredients to that, and one of them we go through how to give people compliments. So that's key number 1. We've got to get that in the lock, and I'm sure you may have had relationships where people stopped acknowledging you, so they've broken down. You may have been in a relationship that you didn't want to be in anymore, so you stopped replying to text messages or emails and didn't return phone calls because no longer did you want acknowledgement, so you pulled that key out of the lock. That's just some examples. So that's key number 1. What have we got number 2,
Well,
Tom?
key number 2, Benny, is once you've learned to acknowledge people, is it's respect. Because obviously acknowledgement isn't just enough. An example of that just yesterday actually.
Well, what's it? Respect is...
Respect is like a real deep admiration and...
Deep admiration for someone. It's for all their skills and their abilities. Yeah.
Yes. So you having respect. An example yesterday where we saw someone who didn't have respect, they'd done the acknowledgement, was on the phone. Benny and I were walking along and we saw this gentleman shouting and yelling and screaming down the end of the phone in the kind of way where it attracted attention to all the people around it. Not very good for your man brand. But obviously that person had acknowledged the person by picking up the phone and calling them, but they didn't display any form whatsoever of respect for that individual. So that's not really going to help build a great relationship at all.
So that's the 2nd key in the lock. Number 1 is acknowledgement, but when you acknowledge someone, make sure you respect them and don't shout at them or abuse them or send them stupid text messages or Facebook messages. So that's acknowledgement, respect. The 3rd one is acceptance. And relationship breakdown happens when these keys aren't happening. And one of the key ones is when someone stops accepting someone for who they are and what they believe in. So you may have been in a relationship before, and initially when you came together in that personal or professional relationship, you were accepted for who you are and what you're all about. But then as time went on, other individual may have started chipping away at you, and then there was a lack of acceptance for who you are and what direction you're going in life. And people are happy with that. They say things like, we just grew apart, or we're going in different directions. There's nothing wrong with that, but that is a reason why people have relationship breakdowns. No longer do they accept each other for who they are. So 3 keys, we've got acknowledgement, respect and acceptance. So we're doing pretty well, but we've got 2 to go.
That's right, Benny. The 4th key is to develop an understanding, meaning that you aim to understand understand others before being understood. An example would be that, if you weren't such a great communicator and someone said, I just don't understand why you're like that, and you go, well, hey, and fight back, versus saying something along the lines of, can you help me to understand what I've done to make you feel that way?
Yeah, I was showing Tom an example before where, as a younger guy, I didn't really understand communication. at all. I thought communication was being able to talk well. Wasn't about listening or understanding. I didn't know these keys at all. That's why we're doing this stuff with Fantastic Life, to help you guys learn from our mistakes and make your life easier, quicker. Where I have a girlfriend say to me, I don't understand why you do that. And I go, yeah, well, I don't understand why you do that. And that example is by saying something back like that. It's like throwing petrol on the fire versus water. Versus if I said something like, look, I've obviously upset you. I didn't mean to upset you. I'm not quite sure what I did, and I'd like to help you understand. So now I'm seeking to understand versus seeking to be understood. Because what I could say is like, well, I just like doing that. That's just what I do. So suck it up. And that's probably not going to help the relationship. So now we've got acknowledgement, respect, acceptance, understanding, and the last one is?
Well, the fifth key, Benny, is touch. Important note, it's the fifth key.
Not the first, which we talked about before. Could be spending the night with Bubba and Otis in the cell if you get that one wrong. I'll give you an example. Well, touch is the first sense that we develop as a little person. That's how we experience the world as a baby. So touch is very, very important. And a lot of people are touch deprived these days. Now, touch can come through, obviously, physical touch. So it could be the high five, the back slap,
bake and shake,
the shake and bake, all those different things. A hug, all those things. But you don't want to just jump in and do those.
We even got elevated in America.
That's right, we did at the start. And there's been a lot of research done on touch. For example, in the training manual, in the sales training manual for the role of head of sales in the Business Designing Fantastic Life program, we did a fair bit of research on this because I found it quite fascinating. And there was some research done regarding premature babies, where they had premature babies in the United Kingdom where they were doing this. And there was premature babies who were receiving touch therapy, which was 3 times a day for 15 minutes. The nurses would go in and cuddle and look after the babies. And the other babies in the other group just receive your normal medical treatment that you would get as a premature baby. And what they found is there was a 47% increase in weight gain over the 10 days of the babies who got the touch therapy versus the one who didn't. So it really, really is an important key. And it's the fifth and final key. So I've got acknowledgement, respect, acceptance, understanding, and touch. And using that, you can audit any relationship in your life, past relationships, to learn where you may have stuffed up or the other person may have stuffed up with you. Then you ask yourself, do I acknowledge that person? It could be someone at work that maybe you have a challenge with, or in your personal life, or with a family member currently. And you go, great, okay. Do I acknowledge that person for how they like to be acknowledged? Do I show them respect? Do I accept them for who they are and what they believe in? Do I aim to understand them, or am I just judging them? And do I touch them how they like to be touched, meaning compliments or back slaps or shake and bakes or whatever it might be? And the other great thing is you can do this for yourself, because it's hard to have a great relationship and connect with other people, Tom, if
you're not applying the 5 keys.
If you don't have a great relationship with yourself. So you need to apply those. So you need to acknowledge yourself. You should acknowledge yourself watching this video. That's what you're doing. You're aiming to better yourself. That's fantastic. Or fantastic, as we say. Respect yourself. Look after yourself. Look after your health. Present yourself well. Have positive self-talk. Accept yourself for who you are, where you're going, and who you're becoming. And your values and all that. You're a unique individual. Get in there. Get that in you. Aim to understand yourself and become your own best friend. I think that's one of life's biggest goals. And every day I'm trying to understand myself and why I do the things I do, and aiming to improve on them. It's it's part of self-development. And touch yourself if you like. Just make sure it's at home, not in public, because you could get arrested, or at least a fine of some degree, which your chief financial officer won't be happy about, because that's a waste of money. So public indecency and exposure.
So there you have it, guys. That's the 5 keys to connecting with others and unlocking new relationships, and using it to better the relationships you currently have.
Yeah, and learn from the ones of the past.